Welcome back, guys, to Ace Attorney Investigations 2, Prosecutors Gambit, where last episode we started to narrow down on who the shooter in the crowd might be, having figured out that they were wearing a red coat thanks to Kay's pictures, and then tracking that red coat down to find that the shooter may have been injured. With that information, we have sent Gumshoe off to try and find the suspect, and we're about to find out if he managed.
Mr. Edgeworth, we found someone who fits the bill perfectly, sir.
Way to nab the assassin, Gummy. Hold on, Kay. It's a little too soon to be jumping to conclusions. For the moment, they're a person of interest and nothing more. Understood? Okay, no jumping.
But he's our shooter, sir. I'm sure of it. He's the guy trying to take out the president.
In broad daylight, surrounded by a crowd of witnesses, this is no ordinary assassin. Bring him over here, detective. Carefully.
Yes, sir. Come on, boys. Sure, Mr. Edgeworth.
Huh? No umbrella, and a bandage on his left arm.
Well, pal, state your name already.
Doe. John Doe. Charmed, I'm sure. John Doe. Not a name you often hear in real life.
That's correct.
I know this man from somewhere. I'm sure of it.
And you are Prosecutor Edgeworth?
Yes, you are Prosecutor Edgeworth. You know my name.
Of course, I have been following the day's developments with some interest.
Now, perhaps you'd care to explain why you've asked to speak with me. As you've been following our investigation, you're no doubt already aware of who we're looking for. So let me ask you, do you recognize this raincoat by any chance?
Forgive me, but I'm afraid I do not.
I see. Well, I believe its owner to be the would-be assassin we are seeking.
My.
Well, isn't that just shocking? And this same would-be assassin happens to have an injured left arm. Just like you.
All I can tell you is that I had nothing to do with this unfortunate affair.
The two adversaries stare each other down, their eyes like deadly lasers. Care to tell the readers what happens next?
A showdown, that's what! A battle of wits, a battle of words.
Go all West Country then. Dare I let him explain any further what he thinks this upcoming battle will entail? Yes, let the man batter on.
In a battle of wits, you never know if or when the other guy might be lying or just plain mistaken. But if you spot an inconsistency in a statement of theirs, you gotta present the evidence that proves it.
And to do that, I'll need to first open my organize with R1, then press triangle to present my evidence. What if there ain't no inconsistencies to find?
And you change tack. Press for more information. See what you can shake loose.
Indeed, I can press my opponent with L1.
Why don't you show us how it's done, Mr. Edgeworth?
Stepping up to bat, our nation's top prosecutor. Once I am able to quietly gather my thoughts, yes. Doe's deposition.
I can understand why whoever wore the raincoat would be of interest to you, but you have no proof that this person is injured as you claim. My left arm may be injured, but I can still use my right. When it started raining, I simply opened my umbrella. No raincoat required.
Were you carrying the specially designed ice cream before then? So you contend that you were not wearing a raincoat, is that correct? Are you dry?
It is, and is that so strange? Not everyone wears one after all. I happen to prefer an umbrella.
Actually, I understand this. I prefer one as well. Less hot, less sweaty. Team Raincoat over here. They're perfect when a girl really needs to move. Heck, I don't use neither. Come rain, sleet, snow or shine, it's my trusty Parker every time. To be honest, when I used to do paper rounds as a kid, I used to just get soaked. Why not? Get it anyway.
The papers stayed dry, though, just in case you're concerned.
Not exactly the line of inquiry I was hoping to pursue.
So you see, I'm not your would-be killer.
And I'm not in the habit of making baseless accusations, Mr. Doe.
Please, I'm just a simple ice cream sell... Oh my!
Forgive me, my wound seems to have begun bleeding again in all the excitement. The owner of the raincoat is definitely our assassin. And said owner also has an injured left arm. And is actively bleeding.
I'm on to you, Mr. Doe. It's only a matter of time. We've got two posh-looking fellows off against each other. I can understand why whoever wore the raincoat would be of interest to you.
Hold it!
So you admit that whoever wore the raincoat is a person of interest? I know they are. I was able to follow most of your investigation from the spectator area. One never thinks one could get caught up in such an awful thing as an assassination. But you have no proof that this person is injured as you claim.
Hold it!
So you'd like to see some proof that the owner of the raincoat has an injury? I would certainly expect such a renowned prosecutor to have some. I still don't understand how you know who I am. Come on, Mr. Edgeworth. You're famous. He probably read about you in the newspaper. I have also been observing you in your work, lest you forget. I don't believe a word he says. If I can prove he's lying, we'd be one step closer to apprehending our shooter. I feel like that's my statement, though. My left arm may be injured, but I can still use my right.
Hold it!
Thanks to the press, basically saying. That looks like quite a serious injury, Mr. Doe. How long ago did it happen exactly? Oh, not long. That's all you're going to say on the subject? Well, it certainly made serving ice cream more difficult. And stopped me from holding my umbrella while I work. When it started raining, I simply opened my umbrella. No raincoat required. It kind of contradicts your previous statement. And yet you don't seem to have an umbrella on you at the moment. Didn't the rain stop only a short while ago, just before the shooting? It did indeed. I remember because I was suddenly inundated with customers who wanted ice cream after the rain. That was less than an hour ago. Are you trying to tell me you lost your umbrella in that short of a span of time? There was one on the floor. He's standing next to you. You can just go, that's mine. Yes, that is exactly what I'm trying to tell you. After all, it only takes a moment for someone to steal an umbrella, especially in a crowd of that size. That's entirely possible, I suppose. I had my umbrella when it was raining, Mr. Edgeworth. That is a fact. And then he lost that umbrella to the crowd, huh? Guess it's just one of those things. I suppose you're going to tell me that his wound reopening is just one of those things, too. Well, it kind of is, no? The assassin's left arm is injured. You're holding the ice cream with the blood. As is Mr. Doe's. Why, it's even bleeding as we speak. You're right. That is pretty suspicious. Nonetheless, we need to find something concrete that will link Mr. Doe to the crime. I should press R1 to open my organizer and look over all the evidence again. Right, so this is going to be the next statement. No proof this person is injured as you claim, but you said the person holding the raincoat was the one. Words. So I'm just now going to go... I do have evidence that the person with the raincoat was injured because there's blood on the inside of it.
Objection!
That's definitely what he's doing. Definitely tutting. You seem like a careful man, Mr. Doe, but not quite careful enough. After all, you left something behind. Something of vital importance. I'm afraid you must have me confused with somebody else. The coat does not belong to me. Or, do you claim to have some kind of proof to support your accusation? Your arm isn't troubling you too much, I hope. Your wound seems to be bleeding again. I'll survive, although I can't pretend it's not something of an inconvenience. You have my deepest sympathies. Because if it wasn't bleeding quite so badly, you could have perhaps made a clean getaway. What exactly are you insinuating? As we have already established, whoever wore the raincoat is injured. And now I can prove that person was you. With this decisive piece of evidence. You see, Mr. Doe, there is a small amount of blood on the inside of this raincoat. Blood that belongs to our assassin. Oh, nicely levitated back. Attempted murder of a foreign leader, causing a diplomatic incident. They'll throw the books at you. You can give us the silent treatment all you like, but we don't need you to talk. A simple blood test will give us the answer we require. All it takes is for us to compare the blood on your bandages with that on the coat,
And that will be that. We have the evidence. Why don't you make it easier on all of us and come clean? Admit that you were the one who attempted to assassinate the president of Zengfa.
I am not your assassin.
You're stubborn, I'll give you that. But if this were a game of chess, you would already be in checkmate. Now do the honorable thing and admit defeat. He doesn't look like a man with no moves left to play.
Very well, you have me. I'll admit it, I was wearing the raincoat. He confessed! Say the word and I'll slap the cuffs on him right now.
But I did not shoot at the president.
What?
Mr. Edgeworth, the only thing you have proven is that I was wearing a particular raincoat.
And as far as I am aware, that is not a crime.
Those Deposition Part 2.
I am no assassin. I am simply... I am a simple ice cream seller. I am simply ice cream. One who happened to be wearing a red raincoat while watching the president speak. I was as surprised as anyone when his bodyguards sprang into action and the shots rang out. That's when the spectators panicked and started running and screaming for their lives. Now, are you finally satisfied that I am telling the truth?
As if. Your story stinks. You don't scare me. The evidence is on our side, you know. Look, it's right there, plain as day. The assassin, and they're wearing a red raincoat. Technically, you could argue it was the person in the purple cap behind.
Intriguing, but that is not me.
Oh, come on.
Tell me, Mr. Edgeworth, do you really think I was the only one in the entire park wearing a red raincoat today?
I do, actually.
But then why? Why does he seem so sure of himself? I am no assassin. I am a simple ice cream seller.
Hold it!
A simple ice cream seller, but a knowledgeable one, I assume. On the subject of ice cream, at least. But of course, ask me anything you wish.
Does Edgeworth know his ice cream facts?
I don't know the first thing about ice cream.
You know what the, most important thing about making ice cream is, of course. Mr. Edgeworth?
Why, the most important thing about making ice cream is to approach it with a virtuous heart. I can't refute that statement. And what does virtue have to do with anything? Without proper reverence for the craft, I'm afraid all you'll ever make are sweetened crystals of ice. There, I hope that you now see. I am nothing more than an ice cream seller. One who happened to be wearing a red raincoat while watching the president speak.
Hold it!
Why a raincoat? Why were you not using an umbrella? Is that so strange? It was a rainy morning. Most people were wearing a jacket of some kind. Well, I say it's a pretty strange choice, considering you couldn't get one of your arms into it. And better that than have one of my hands occupied by an umbrella. I had ice cream to serve, after all. Then why go to such lengths to avoid testifying to that effect in the first place? Forgive me, I simply hadn't remembered until now. It's been an eventful day, after all. Eventful? Well, I hardly know what else to call it, Mr. Edgeworth. The president of Zengfa was shot at. I was as surprised as anyone when his bodyguard sprang into action and the shots rang out. The ordering of that's a bit weird.
Hold it!
So you saw the bodyguards move before you heard the gunshots?
Yes.
Yes, if I recall correctly, they moved first. At least, the one on the left did.
Stage left or president's left?
Are they the same thing? Our left? President's left? You know what I mean. You're rather observant, Mr. Doe. Stage left and president left are the same thing? I don't even know anymore. I'll have to look it up. I'm blessed with keen eyes. The names of the bodyguards were written in the top left corner of the security plan. And the one on the left was Rook. Our left, then. That's correct. Bastion Rook, I believe. Wait, you know the name? I expect you noticed the light from a laser sight. You know the name? The man is no amateur. Mr. Doe knows a little too much about the business of being a bodyguard for my liking. I'd say our friend here is no amateur either. I'd like you to append what you just said to your testimony, if you don't mind. As you wish. The bodyguard on the left, Bastion Rook was it, was especially quick to respond. Was that the guy on the left? How do you know the first name? I mean, even this plan doesn't have the first name of the person on it. Very interesting. Is that it? Like, even this plan? How did you know the name? I mean, I may as well press first.
Hold it!
So the bodyguard on the left was the first to move. By the smallest fraction, yes. He reacted admirably swiftly. His name was Bastion Rook, did you say?
No, you said.
It appears you've assessed the situation quite astutely. No more so than anybody else, I'm sure. He's good. He didn't even flinch. That's when the spectators panicked and started running and screaming for their lives. So I think it's that statement. We're meant to press how he knows the name. So you yourself didn't start running and screaming. I was hardly in a position to... Oh yeah? And what position were you in? One of extreme pain. Somebody bumped right in my wounded arm. Hard. It was excruciating. I thought my eyes would pop out of my head.
Yeah? Well, they clearly didn't.
Of course they didn't, Kay. In any event, the shooter was wearing a red raincoat. We have photographic proof of that, and yet...
Mr. John Doe here swears it wasn't him.
The guy's lying through his teeth, I tell ya. No one gets away with disrespecting Mr. Edgeworth, pal. Not on my watch. Calm down, detective. We will get the truth out of him by catching him in a lie.
Yeah, so let's keep at him. He'll let something slip soon enough. It's gonna be... the statement where he says the name, specifically, because we don't know the name. Did we have his name from anything? No, we literally do not have his name on anything at all, but this guy knows the name. Too bad you can't read what's on there. Like, you can actually read part of it, but it actually repeats. A city official in charge of health and welfare said, and then, like, it's actually cut up multiple bits. You see, like, the bit on, like, the left and the right is the same. At the same point, it says a city official in charge of health and welfare. So it's readable. It's just weirdly readable. Well, I think we're going to have to present like this, because nothing says the name at all. This is the only thing relative to it. I'll give it a go.
Objection!
As I suspected, you are more than what you claim to be, Mr. Doe. You overestimate me, Mr. Edgeworth. Oh, then tell me how a simple ice cream seller knows one of the presidential bodyguard's names. What? You jest, surely? You were the one who spoke their names aloud. No, no, no. Rook and Knight, was it?
Objection!
We only know those names thanks to the security plan. But look closely, only their surnames appear. Yet we all clearly heard you say the name Bastion Rook. How did you come to possess such information? Information we ourselves didn't have. Seems pretty darn suspicious to me. Well, how did you know? Explain yourself. It was merely a slip of the tongue.
Another lie. He is the assassin, just like we said.
Come now, miss. It's a little soon to be jumping to such conclusions. I did know their names, yes, and the reason for that is... well, I know Mr. Rook. He and I are acquainted. What? We have something of a connection. And his name is a name I could never forget. You think we're stupid, pal? Stop lying! I am not lying, as I am, as I have always been, a simple ice cream seller. And an acquaintance of Bastian Rook. Yes. Objection! And I suppose Mr. Rook will confirm that. It should be easy enough for him to remember his good friend, the slippery ice cream seller, correct? Please, you are more than welcome to ask him, although I think that might be difficult right now. I would imagine he's rather busy ensuring the president's safety. But suppose you are able to speak with him, and he does deny that he and I are acquainted. How will that help you prove I was the shooter? Objection! If you weren't the shooter, why take off your raincoat? Because it was no longer raining. In fact, it had grown quite warm. Far better to let my wound breathe, no? Or would you rather I let it fester? Is he actually going to worm his way out of this?
What are you waiting for, Mr. Edgeworth? Hurry up and arrest the man. He's clearly guilty. If I were you, he'd be in jail already.
You might be willing to arrest a man without sufficient proof, but I am not.
No, come on, Mr. Edgeworth. There's got to be something you can do. Shocking scenes here as the culprit seems all but certain to escape justice.
It seems the court of public opinion has spoken. Very well. As I will clearly be viewed with suspicion no matter what I say, I might as well share what I know. What you know? What's his angle here? I saw them. I saw another person with a red hood. What? Are you kidding? It's the person you captured in your photograph. I first noticed them just before the president's speech began. It was still raining then. Their outfit was the same color as my own, which is what drew my attention. As did the laser beam that was aimed directly at the president's head. He's claiming there was another red-hooded person? Preposterous! I knew that if someone saw me dressed similarly to this individual, I could fall under suspicion myself. And so naturally I removed my raincoat. Objection! So not only did you see the assassin, but they were wearing exactly the same thing as you. How very convenient. I had thought you might find it far-fetched, hence my not mentioning it until now. I know you law enforcement people are very skeptical types. You would never have believed me. Especially not if I had said that the shooter was standing right next to a certain prosecutor. Well, I know you don't mean me. I wasn't even summoned until after the shooting. No, not you, Mr. Edgeworth. Your colleague over there.
Huh? Me?
Yes, the photograph will prove it, I'm sure. So it was you. You see, right there in front of the person with the red hood.
That's me, yes, but what exactly are you saying?
What's his endgame here? As I mentioned, I've been following your investigation with some interest, Mr. Edgeworth. And while pondering the details, I noticed something strange. Strange? What exactly? Come now, a man of your talent should be more than capable of spotting a contradiction such as this. I'm afraid I don't follow. The picture shows the chief prosecutor, Mr. Payne, and the shooter. But there's nothing weird about that, is there? Think carefully. The picture was taken right in the middle of the president's speech. One of the other pieces of evidence you've gathered is inconsistent with what we see here. What is Mr. Doe talking about? Which piece of evidence is inconsistent with what's in the picture? The angle of shooting should be fine. This plan should be fine. The gun should be fine. The raincoat should be fine. I mean, these should not be. Was the target Payne himself? I forgot that he was chief prosecutor at this point in time as well. I was like, what the hell? Speaking of which, bringing up the term chief prosecutor again. High-pitched gentleman. This meeting is scheduled for just after the speech, correct? Yes, the president wants to thank us personally. He seems pretty pleased to be able to put the whole Yatagarasu situation behind him. So who's the older gentleman? Is it him? Is it the suspect now?
Oh, are you saying that it's inconsistent because you two were talking and you were here together? I'm confused. They were due to have a meeting? Both of them were here to have a meeting? I think it might be this. You were here together in the first... If you know each other, why are you so adversarial at this point in time? I'm really confused. But they were definitely there. Oh no, he's talking to the guy on the left, yeah? I'm very confused. I think this is the evidence, though, because it's bringing up the chief prosecutor part again. So he's talking to that guy on the left there. Which we're bringing up now, and we know that they were talking together. I think this is the only bit related to the current sentences.
Take that!
Ah, of course! The tape! It contradicts the photograph! He should be deaf, having a gun fired at him that close. Ah, so you have noticed at last. What's he going on about, Mr. Edgeworth? I'm not exactly sure myself. I just know that this is obviously related to this point. Someone's missing. Someone who should be here. Huh? But who? Who indeed? The person who was missing from this photograph is... Wait a second. Okay, now I get it. So this is inconsistent with this because how were you close enough to overhear the conversation? Oh, shoot. To be close enough, you'd have to be in this picture. So you'd have to be the one in the red hood.
Take that!
Huh?
Miss Lloyd!
Oh no! It's red on the inverse of the thing! How do you figure that?
Mr. Payne's voice can clearly be heard on Miss Lloyd's tape. Considering that he was conducting a private conversation with the chief prosecutor.
Oh, there was these two old guys standing right in front of me. They were whispering away to each other the whole darn time.
She must have been very close indeed to capture it on tape.
You're right, but she's not in the picture.
Precisely. Well, Mr. Edgeworth, do you still believe that you have been hounding the right person? Miss Lloyd, would you mind answering a few questions?
Whoa, you all are fixing to put me under the microscope now? All right, sure. Knock yourselves out. I got nothing to hide. To get to where we got to from there is kind of funny. I knew that the tape recorder was obviously linked in terms of like, this is the subject of conversation. But it took me 2 seconds to actually like the next line to go like, oh yes, it really is. Oh. And then looking at that neck. This is Lloyd's testimony. It ain't like I was standing still the whole time. Yeah, I was running all over, roving report style, and that was a big old crowd. Guess the picture must have been taken while I was in one spot, and the tape's from when I was in another. So quit giving me the evil eye. Ain't nothing but a misunderstanding.
There's no doubt about the voices on the tape. That was Mr. Payne and the chief prosecutor.
Yeah, you're not the chief prosecutor. I'm certain of it. That's why I was getting confused as well. Tabby wouldn't lie to us. I know she wouldn't. But if she did, that would mean...
that she's our perp.
Will you all quit messing with me? As if I could have done a thing like that. Little old me.
I might be inclined to believe you if your testimony didn't contain a glaring inconsistency.
It does. I thought it was pretty good.
It seems I have no choice but to present her with the evidence and expose the contradiction.
Miss Lloyd's testimony. It ain't like I was standing still the whole time. I mean, that obviously sounds true. Why would you be moving around if your main aim was to record the president's speech? That's a really good point. What now? How do you mean? Surely the speech would have been best recorded from a single consistent position. Well, see, that is, oh yeah, ambience. That's the word I was looking for. Gotta capture the ambience. Can't put that electric atmosphere down in print if I don't have a bunch of it on tape for inspiration. But surely all you achieved was to fill the tape with unwanted background noise. You all are questioning my methods now? I don't do standing still, alright? I bet that's probably very true. I was running all over, roving reporter style. That was a big old crowd.
Hold it!
It's like you were looking for dirt. You were running all over. Where exactly? Here, there, and everywhere, I guess. What, you all don't know what all over means? You think I remember exactly where I was and went in a crowd like that? What do you all want from me? I'd like you to at least tell us whether you were to the left or the right of the stage. Left? Yeah, left, I think. The suspect in the picture was on the left-hand side too. Coincidence? Guess the picture must have been taken while I was in one spot and the tapes from when I was in another. That can't be true.
Hold it!
You can actively see them talking in the picture. So the fact that you were not in the picture is to be expected. Is that what you're trying to tell us? It surely is. I caught your pals, the prosecutors, on the tape while I was in one part of the crowd. And then that picture was snapped while I was off someplace else. Look at it that way, and it all makes perfect sense. Your assertion, then, is that the picture and your recording were taken at different points in the speech. Yep, timing's everything. You learn that soon enough in this line of work. You've just started. So if I can prove that the two things did happen at the same time, your entire defense will come tumbling down. So quick, give me the evil eye. Ain't nothing but a misunderstanding.
Hold it!
Evil eye. Are you suggesting that I might be attempting to intimidate a witness? No, I'm just suggesting that you lighten up a little. Drown that way for too long and it will stick. Ain't nothing so bad that a little smile can't make better, wouldn't you say, Ruffles? I'm investigating the shooting of a president, Miss Lloyd. A smile is highly unlikely to help with that. So proclaim the prosecutor, all the while beaming from ear to ear. Paragraph ends. Perhaps what I ought to do is deploy my even eviler evil eye on her next time. Just can't get a read on her. But I don't feel like she's hiding anything super bad either. I agree that she doesn't seem to be ill-intentioned. But who knows if that means something much worse is lying just underneath. Regardless, we must put aside our immediate impressions. Your actions are on the record, and I have proof that contradicts her testimony. Right, I think the statement we're looking for here is this one. The picture must have been taken while I was in one spot and the tapes from when I was in another. Probably down to the fact that if we go to that, so the picture seems to be on a proclamation point and also the moment when they're talking together, so we can literally see them talking. The president thrusts his fist into the air as the excitement reaches fever pitch. So it's literally at the same time. That talk, that happened. We placed the moment. You're on the left because that is the moment where that happened and the gunshots rang out. So we will present that evidence next time on Ace Attorney Investigations 2 because an episode has to end sometime. But of course, the Let's Play continues. The case continues with a potential new suspect in the frame. A reporter, supposedly. Who is the guilty party? Maybe we'll narrow that down a little bit more next time. Until then, I say, bye-bye.